rich. Now, here's some examples. I said I was going to apply this not only to us personally and to social interactions, but to business as well. As I said, having a good reputation, of which altruism is an important part, is worth lots of money in the bank. And there are some large corporations that don't seem to get that. This one story, you may have heard of this, that was from, I think, the year 2010. No, 2011, actually. It was just a year ago. There was a branch of Bank of America in Florida that decided to foreclose on the house. The problem is that the couple did not owe any money on the house. And as a matter of fact, they had paid cash for the house, so they didn't even really have a mortgage at all. But the Bank of America went ahead and started to foreclose on them. And they had a lawyer say, look, you got the paperwork wrong, you made a mistake. This, of course, is part of the robo-signing scam, right? Where the banks would just start kind of foreclosing without even checking their paperwork very closely. Well, the bank went ahead with the foreclosure. They tried to anyway. Finally, a judge stopped them. The judge also ordered the Bank of America pay the legal fees that the couple had incurred trying to protect themselves from this. The bank ignored it until finally the judge, mad at having his order ignored, the judge ordered a deputy and a moving truck to show up at the bank and start just loading stuff into the moving truck. Computers, cash from the drawers, whatever. Finally, that got their attention, and they finally paid the fees. They never did admit wrongdoing. But anyway, now the point that I'm trying to make of this is that some corporations are TBTF, too big to fail, and to them, they sort of ignore reputation. They don't really care about it that much. Now, take a local bank, where everybody knows who the president of a local bank would be. If, let's say, the president of a local bank around here did something like this, he couldn't show his face in this town. Okay? So to a small bank president, reputation is important. But to Bank of America, if the CEO of Bank of America, do you know what he looks like, who he is? Do you think people would even recognize him in downtown Charlotte, North Carolina? No. So when you have corporations get too big to have any accountability, then altruism seems to no longer be important to them. There's also a company in Amherst, New York called Stephen J. Baum PC, and they specialized in robo-signing, in doing improper foreclosures, and they were shut down as a result of that. But just before they were shut down, they had a Halloween party. And the employees came dressed as homeless people who had been foreclosed on. And this sort of thing just makes you really angry, because it's like they're making fun of the people that they did wrong things to. And this would be an example of the complete opposite of altruism. Now, sometimes you can get very rich even though you are not altruistic. I don't need to tell you who that is. But somebody who actually thought that we loved him so much that he'd make a good president. That didn't last for long. Maybe you don't know who this is. This is Steve Ballmer, who is the CEO of Microsoft, and he took over from Bill Gates, and he deliberately instituted anti-altruism as a policy, that within each unit, they were supposed to identify the top producing people and the bottom producing people, and no matter, even if the bottom people were doing a good job, they had to be booted out. And so this created an incentive, not so much for doing better work, but it created an incentive for making other people look like they were doing poor work. I'm not sure if it went as far as sabotage is concerned, but you may have noticed that Microsoft products are getting worse and worse. It's getting to the point where some of them, I can't even use them. I get random, cursors jump around at random, the document will suddenly start scrolling, all kinds of things. And I've talked to other people who've had the same problem. It didn't happen back in 2006, 2005, but now it seems to be quite common. Now, Microsoft has a virtual monopoly on operating systems. But since Ballmer took over with this deliberate style of management, the corporation has gone down. It's down. Until finally, last quarter was the first quarter that Microsoft had ever had a loss. Now, how do you have a loss if you've got a monopoly? How do you do that? Well, you do it by deliberately instituting policies against altruism, to get people to try to work against each other rather than with each other. Okay? In other words, you could say the opposite of collegial